Hey everybody, welcome to episode 135. I want to talk about a couple of things. One thing I saw pop up just yesterday. This will probably post on Friday, so it might be a few days late to the game, but um, is the Dungeons and Dragons Super 7 from the cartoon, the 80s 1983 cartoon. If you're in the know and you've been following action figures for the last year or two, you'll notice a couple of things going on. And again, it's like one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing, or whatever. I don't know what it comes down to, but there's so many just issues I have with everything. Obviously, it's me. I have an issue with everything. But anyways, you remember. I know I keep pulling this guy up. And don't worry, he's got a buddy coming tomorrow. Got two buddies coming tomorrow. But anyways, my Warduke, right? The NECA Warduke. Okay, you can still get him on Amazon or whatever for $34.99. That's what I paid for him on Amazon. And he was late in the game. I mean, we waited probably, a year and a half to finally available to get him. I know I didn't get Grimsword. I never had him as a kid, and he's part of the second series, and I didn't care for the second series that much. But I did want Warduke because he was and still is one of my favorite action figures of all time, favorite characters of all time. Outside of Wolverine and whatever other various characters, I would say Warduke's probably right up there. But and of course, and I'll get to Strongheart and is it Zarak? I can't remember what his name is. The little hobgoblin thief. I'll get to him in a minute, but when they announced those, I said, okay, I'm going to go all the way back to when I originally said, and I don't think I said this in videos before, but I said this to multiple people and to various people online in the toy community, and I said, if they ever make LJN's, redo LJN's figures or reissue LJN's Dungeons and Dragons figures from 1983, I said, I'm on board 100%. I can't open my wallet fast enough to go for those figures. However, when I said that, I originally thought they're going to just do a one-to-one, reissue. And they sort of did that with a special edition set that was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. It is available, but it's only got, the only original figure in it is Serac, or not Serac, of Calic, the evil sorcerer, or evil wizard. And for some reason, he's got a white mohawk now. I didn't understand why they did that. And then he comes with, I can't remember the girl characters. They never had a figure of her per se back in the day. I can't remember what her name is, the female sorceress. A cool-looking character, but they never had a figure. And I'm not saying I wouldn't want the figure. I would probably still get the figure because I like the character. And it never even came out in the second wave either. But they did a version of her in the old style, which made you think, okay, did they have a prototype? And then they had a couple of other characters that I guess were from the second series. I don't know. It's like, why didn't they, for an exclusive set of 4 figures, why didn't they do like the 4 main figures? Why couldn't they do, what's his face? Warduke and Calic, Strongheart, and say Mercion, So you get a female character there too, the cleric, the wizard. She is from the first series. Why didn't they just do that? Why didn't they just make that as a 4-pack? Why did they give a mohawk on Calic, which makes no sense whatsoever? Don't tell me, it was an original idea that they never did. Well, okay, it's the reason why it was an original why it never got did, because it's stupid. Why didn't they just take it off? But so anyways, now there's also this going on, and then of course, but then when they announced, NECA announced, because NECA has the license, they're gonna do, because NECA puts out WizKid. They put out actual Dungeons and Dragons miniatures. Oh, why didn't they? So they said, we're gonna do a 7-inch NECA series. I instantly rolled my eyes. I'm like, okay. So when I saw Warduke, I went, okay, well that looks amazing, right? I can't really fault the figure. I mean, it looks amazing. It's great. However, here we go again. You're going to make a 7-inch action figure. What about the Fortress of Fang? In order to make a Fortress of Fang, it's got to be, you know, it's going to be the size of the Thundercat lair. Alright, I don't want anything that big. I don't even really have any room for the regular sized Fortress of Fang, but I would love to have it. And so, okay, so now you're going to, make these 7-inch figures. So might as well kiss Fortress of Fang goodbye. Or might as well kiss Dragoon goodbye. Maybe, although he would be big. And obviously Hook Horror, which is one of my favorites. Now, like I said this in a previous video. They have a 7-inch NECA RoboCop, and they do a Ed 209, which is big, but it's in scale with him. Now, I would say that the Hook Horror is that scale-ish, pretty much. It's about that scale. So they could do it, and they're going to charge probably $80 for it, but they could do it. NECA could do it, and that's fine. I still have faith that they will. Then we get to the Titans, you know, the Ogre King and the young Titan and Northwind, the giant figures. Okay, well, they're going to have to be 12-inch figures, right? And so they're going to be probably $65, $70, probably $80 a piece, if they do those even. So, again, it's just, I hate this, like, you know, oh, well, we're gonna do a series. Again, it's like, okay, are you really going to do the series? Or are you just going to fart around and just do a couple of characters here and there and then just give up because you realize it costs too much money and it's only for a select amount of people that actually want to buy these things? It's just like, okay. So, that said, I still got Morduk, you know. And then they did eventually, you know, and I was wondering, are they going to do any more? And then they did announce Strongheart, the Serac, or whatever his name is, the Hobgoblin thief, which these are all part of the first series. And then they did announce Elkhorn. Elkhorn's the only figure from the first series I didn't have. I still want him, but it's the only one I didn't have. Okay, so they announced them like a year and a half ago again. So here we go. They've been available for a few months, but I mean, it took basically over a year for those to come out too. So it's just like these are going to come out like 1 or 2 every year, maybe. Well, which is good for, you know, for monetary for your pocketbook. You don't have to really be shelling out a lot of money, especially if you only collect a few figures a year. But you'll have, you know, and obviously they could take. It's been 40 years since the show, and 40 years since the toy line, so they could take their time making those. Hopefully they still say, you know, if it's done over a period of time, hopefully they're still somewhat consistent. But that's fine. Okay, that's why I'm on board with that. I mean, I'm reluctantly on board with that, but I'm on board with that. I'm fine with that. So, and incidentally, I did just order Strongheart and the what is his name? It's gonna drive me nuts. Zarak, yeah, Zarak, the Hobgoblin. So I'll show you those in a second here. So I did order them off Amazon, and so they're coming tomorrow. You know, I don't have Amazon Prime right now. I haven't used Amazon Prime since before Christmas, and I didn't renew it over Christmas. So I lost my Amazon Prime, so I had to order over $35. Now, luckily, it's $34.99, so you can't just buy one to get the 3 shipping. So, but I wanted the 2 anyway. So I've been putting them off getting them since they've come out. So now I decided, okay, well, if they're on Amazon, they're $35. I don't have to pay a premium. I can get free shipping. Fine. I did see Zarak at my local Meijer, though, when I was grocery shopping once, and I was going to pull the trigger on it, and I was just like, I got to get groceries and stuff. I don't have another $35 extra to blow on it. So I waited, and, you know, I got a little bit of Christmas money over the holidays. So I ended up finally ordering these 2 figures. So Morduk will finally have at least 2 friends to hang out with him here on my desk. So that's fine. Okay, I'm fine with all of that. Now, as you remember, the Dungeons Dragons cartoon figures, Hank, Presto, Sheila, all those characters, Diana, they never came out with them a long time ago, or 40 years ago when the show came out. They came out like these fixed like figurine versions of them. I think I never saw them in the store. I just saw them online. I'd never seen them in the wild all these years, but supposedly those existed. But they never came out with figures, and not that the show. The Borduke showed up on one of the episodes. Kalak showed up on an episode. Strongheart showed up on an episode, right? So they're still part of the show-ish. But the figures themselves are always were always a separate, version of Dungeons and Dragons, even though they kind of co-shared. Would I have gotten the action figures back then for the show? Yes. I loved the show. I still have it. It's amazing. I still love that show. It's one of my all-time favorite cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons from the 80s. Came out right when I was in the heat of Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, so when Hasbro announced them a while ago, and you probably know, Hasbro announced they're going to come out with them. They had an exclusive set with Dungeon Master and Venture. Then they had the first wave had the 3 of the kids, and then the second wave had 3 of the kids or 4 of the kids. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was 4. So they've come out with all those main characters through Hasbro. However, this is right at the time that they started to announce the packaging, the boxing, the getting rid of the plastic shells and just having boxes. And so they came out with those. And look it up. I don't really need to pull up a picture of that. You can see it. And if you're in the know, you know what I'm talking about. So they came out with those. And then suddenly there's quality control issues on them. Hank won't hold his bow correctly. You go to move Diana's arm or ankle and they bust off. Hank ends up hands bust, or wrists end up busting trying to get his bow. It's quality control issues up the yin-yang. They look decent. They look good. And they're impressive, the whole set, if you got the whole set of them. But, that's $200. Well, retail, it was probably be, like $250. Now, if you've noticed, the second wave hasn't, but the first wave has already gone to Ollie's. So you can get them at Ollie's but they're still pricey. They're still like $12.99 a piece, which, that's great and all, but are they going to get the other figures? So, or do I have to pay full price? Is it a trick? Hey, buy 4 of these figures at $13, and then, but we're never going to get, Ollie's is never going to get the other 4, plus the exclusive. So you got to pay full price for that. And now that they've been out for a while, they can't even get them at full price. You got to get them at collector's. No, I'm not going through all that. Because the figures inherently are screwed up. They're broken. There's quality control issues and they're terrible. Okay, so that's out. I was when I saw them in Ollie's, I thought about it, and then boom, I'm like, no. For all of the reasons I just suggested, I was just like, no, I'm not going to fall for it. So then I see, and I heard them talk about Super 7 possibly getting the license. Well, they got the license, and I'll pull them up now. I was going on I normally go on ToyArk every day just to check, check the toy news. Like I said, my toy spending has gone down to almost completely nothing. I was always planning on buying those 2 figures, and I finally pulled the trigger on them. But as far as the future plans, I don't really have a lot of figures I really want to get. But they came out with so the Super 7 came out with this. Okay, now I still have 4 Super 7s, and I got Chitara from G.I. Joe and Chitara from Thundercats, and they're great figures. But I got them at an extreme discount, and those actually you can get those even cheaper now. I got them for like $35 a piece, about the same price as Warduke. You can get them for like $25 a piece now on various like Amazon, various places, because nobody's buying those first wave of figures. Even Cobra Commander, who's a great figure, Snake Eyes, and they're showing. Even those are starting to show up at Ollie's apparently. I've never seen them there, but supposedly they are. So those figures are going for cheap. So again, though, you fall into that trap, and I fell into that trap. It's like, okay, well, you mark down the first 4 G.I. Joe figures at a normal price. Well, in quotations, normal. But you're never, there's no, it doesn't seem like they're going to discount the second set of figures. And they actually had discounted them a little bit, but they're still like $45, almost $50 a piece, because they're normally $55 a piece. And I'm like, I got duped, right? It's just like, it's not going to happen. Maybe way down the line, I'm going to play the waiting game, and if I can get the stuff cheap way down the line, just like all the Ninja Turtle stuff went down to like dirt cheap. If I can get that stuff way down the line, then sure, I'll probably buy in and finish getting some of the G.I. Joes. I probably won't get the rest of the Thundercats. I just got Chitara just because she was on sale really cheap, and I like Chitara. Yeah, so it's like Super 7's doing them. It's like, oh my god. So obviously they're $55 a piece, as you can see. You know, here they are on Big Bad Toy Store, $54.99 a piece. You know, and they're not coming out for a while. When are they coming out? October of 2020. Not for a while. That's if they even come out then. More like these are going to come out for a year from now. So even if you did pre-order them, luckily they don't charge you until they actually come in if you want to pre-order them. But I'm sure you're going to be able to get them, and I would not pay $55 a piece for them. I'm almost positive that these are not going to sell. I mean, they're going to sell to the core group of people who have a lot of money to spend who want these figures. But I'm going to say most of us, like myself, are like, I can't afford those. But I'd like to have them. I'm definitely a customer for those, but not at that price. And so they'll probably wait. We'll probably wait. But I got to say the mass, just like if they're selling Ninja Turtles for cheap and G.I. Joe like Cobra Commander for cheap, you know these things are going to end up down to $25, you know, probably 6 months after they come out. So again, I'm going to play the waiting game. The other thing I find odd, it's not, I think it's cool, but I think it's odd, is okay, you're getting two of the kids, right? You're getting Hank and Sheila, which they look great. I'll show it. Let's look at them a little closer. Here's Hank. Good looking figure. You get some extra hands. I think there's a picture of him holding the bow. So he actually holds the bow right. I don't remember this face. I'm assuming these faces are, because I think the Sheila face is, the second Sheila head is from the model sheet, because I have the model sheets, and the facial expressions from the model sheet. But I'm assuming that's what they're from. I haven't seen the Hank model sheet at the moment, so I couldn't tell you. But, I mean, they look great. The colors look great. I mean, you know, the Ninja Turtles, the Thundercats, you know, even the Silverhawks, I like the chrome ones better. You know, the back metalized ones. But, you know, G.I. Joe ones too. They all look great. The colors look great. You know, people have issues with certain things here and there, but overall, I think they look great. And then there's Sheila. Yeah, see, I know this face. I remember an episode where she looked at the camera like this. She turned around, looks at the camera at this, and this. I think this is in the model sheet. The net thing, I don't remember the net thing. As far as one of her little things comes up. She's got a soft goods cape, and I'll show you something cool with her too, is her hood actually pulls up. Which they you know, I think the Hasbro one had to have a separate rubber cape to do it, you know, or plastic cape. So, yeah, right there, look at that, see? That's cool. That looks neat. I gotta say, that looks impressive. The other characters, bonus super pack, I don't know what this is. So Dekian and Shadow Weaver. Is it Shadow Weaver? So there's the bow. Let's see if they should. So yeah, look, he's actually holding the bow correctly. And there's so let's go to Dekian first. I'm just going to go through the pictures here. There's Dekian, the skeletal warrior who's in the episode. You know, that's cool. I mean, it's great. The old LJN stuff used to come with those little rubber figures, and I had the rubber skeleton set, and the one skeleton looked a lot like Dekian, and I always just assumed, I used to play as he was Dekian. But now they have a Dekian figure, and that's cool. You know, I think that's really neat. Like I said, I don't remember what the ring was about in that episode. I haven't seen it in a while. But looks cool. You know, there's the figures together. Hank, oh, there we go. There we go. There's Hank's bow. See how it holds it? I mean, it looks good. And then I know there's more than one. It's like a class. Like if you look up in I think they're in the Fiend Folio. They've got, or maybe they're in Monster Manual. I can't remember. I thought it was Fiend Folio, but they've got the Shadow Weaver. I think it's Shadow. Is it Shadow Weaver, or is that the character from She-Ra? Shadow Weaver. I thought they called him Shadow Weaver in the show. Venture calls him Shadow Weaver, or Shadow something. But anyways, those guys. They are like a race, like a monster class. So I could see them having more than one, but I don't remember more than one in the cartoon. But obviously, it's a smaller figure, and if they want to get that $55, they're going to give you two of them that are slightly different. To justify charging $55 for those two. I think $55 for these two figures is very steep. So those are all the pictures there. Just go on Toy Ark. You can go on Big Bad Toy Store, and obviously you can see the address up there at the top of my screen. You can go on there and grab and check those out. But yeah. I gotta say, they're impressive. I definitely am interested, but not at $55 a piece. I just can't justify one wave of figures being over $200. I mean, you can get all the Hasbro, even though they're garbage. You can get the Hasbro wave for $250 or whatever. It's just like, I'm not going to spend that much for these. It also makes you think if they are making Decion and Shadow Beast or Shadow Weaver, whatever he's called, Shadow Lord, I can't remember. That's going to drive me nuts. I want to know what the name of that character is. Hold on a second. Just hold on a second here. Okay, recording. All right, I'm going to grab my my homemade Fiend Folio here. I got to know. Let's go to the index. Shadow something. Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon. Yeah, okay, now I remember that. What page is he on? Of course they have no... I guess they're in alphabetical order, but there's no page number in the Fiend Folio. And then the X's, the N's. There he is. Right there. Shadow Demon. Okay. So he is in the Fiend Folio. I thought that's where he was at. I know the Hook Horror is in the Fiend Folio too. But anyways, yeah, it's just a demon. And foul creature, dark evil, lower plane, from the lower planes, the essence of the demon imprisoned, blah 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, so if they come out with those type of characters, Decion, then hopefully that means they're going to do a bunch of the other characters, just like they did in Thundercats and other stuff in the show, like who are some of the other main characters that showed up. I mean, obviously, these guys show up, so are they going to do these? Are they going to do cartoon versions of these? These are 7-inch scale. Those are 7-inch scales. Technically, these aren't scales. So if you just get the NECA figures, you don't really need, unless you want the cartoon version of those characters. They scale up. But, Adventure, obviously, is going to be like Mumra. It's going to be huge. And here's the thing. If they do those characters... Are they going to make a Hook Horror? They made a Thundercat lair for $600. Are they going to do a Fortress of Fangs for $600? I mean, the thing is, sure, they probably could. And they might even, do that. I don't know. They'll probably make a Tiamat. They'll probably do a Tiamat and charge $600 for him. It'll be huge, Maybe they'll do Venture on his horse. That'll be kind of cool, his flying horse. But, obviously they're going to probably do a Dungeon Master. I can't see spending $55 for a teeny little Dungeon Master figure, but maybe Dungeon Master will come with Bobby and then Uni, or maybe it'll be Uni and Dungeon Master. I don't know how they're going to do it, but, I'm trying to think of some of the other characters in the show off the top of my head. Lots of human characters that I can think. Oh, the Orcs. They could do the Orcs. That'd be cool. And there's an army builder. You can get multiple Orcs. But again, $55 a figure. That's way too much money. And I will definitely wait the long game for these. I'm positive that these I can probably get these from $25 to $35, like the NECA figures, eventually, after they all come out. And that's probably what I'm going to do. It's probably going to take me, 5 years to acquire them, but I'll probably wait and do that. Now I also say that because the Super 7 figures, hopefully there's no quality control issues. They're better figures. The Hasbro ones are garbage, and I'm not even going to consider them. But they scale up with the NECA Dungeon, the LJN NECA figures, so that's always a bonus. So if they don't come out with them in that set, I still have the other guys, and you could commingle them, But I don't know. What you tell me? You think it's a fair price? People are going to come on there and say, "Oh, that's just how modern figures are. They are that. Oh, it costs that much money to make them. It's blah blah blah. It's a boutique item. Blah blah blah." You're going to tell me all of the stuff in the story, and that's fine. Whatever you want to, whatever mental gymnastics you can do to justify the price is fine by me. But at the end of the day, I ain't paying it. Just ain't going to happen. Not for let's say they come out with 10, 15 figures. I'm not paying, $1,000 for a figure set. It's just not going to happen. So I am going to wait until they're at a normal, more justifiable price. I think that price is even too high, but it is what it is. So I'll probably end up doing that. But here's where I am with that. So I'm going to show you also here. Let's pull up. So there's look how good that looks. I mean, that's Steelheart there. Amazing looking figure. But that's the NECA version for $35. So I've got him coming tomorrow, so he'll be able to stand toe to toe with Warduk over there. And then of course I ordered him too. There's Zarok, the Hobgoblin dude, Hobgoblin thief. It looks great. Looks amazing. So I had him as a kid. I loved that figure, so I'll have him too. So I've got the two figures I've finally been after. Hopefully, I'm hoping that when they make the next announcement, I know Elkhorn's coming out, and I'll probably pick up Elkhorn eventually. I'll probably wait a long time to get him. But if Elkhorn, I'm hoping Mercion's next. I'm hoping Mercion and Calic are next. That would be nice, because I definitely want a Calic. Hopefully, it doesn't have a stupid mohawk. I want Calic, and I definitely want Mercion, and she's the cleric, the blonde-haired cleric. Then they got Melf, which is such a weird name for him, but the elf archer, elf. He's supposed to come out too, and isn't there one more? Let's see, or is that all of them? I think it's all of them. Yeah, so hopefully they'll announce those three figures, Melf, Mercion, and Calic. That'll complete all the regular sized figures. Then again, are they going to do the Titans or the Giants? There's 3 of them: Ogre King, Northwind, and the Young Titan. Hopefully they'll do them. They should be. I mean, if he's 7 inches, hopefully he's at least like here, maybe 12 inches or so for those figures would be nice. But again, they'll be expensive. Now those somewhat will be justifiable if they're pricey because they are big. But then again, I'm going to buy them over time. I'm not going to jump on them right away. But really, I'm hoping they come out with the what do you call Dragoon, and I'd like to see Dragoon. He'll be big. Hooked Horror, and even Nightmare. His Warduk's horse, that would be cool. Nightmare, and then was it the Gold Dragon or Bronze Dragon that Steelheart rides? And then Steelheart had a horse too. See, the thing is, if they come out with Nightmare, all they do is just repaint him, and put a few more different accessories, and you've got Strongheart's horse. So that would be nice. Maybe they'll come out with the bronze. I I think it was Bronze Dragon. I think it was Gold Dragon. It wasn't the best. The original toy wasn't that great, but if they did a good version, it'd be cool. Dragoon should look really neat, or Dragon, or however you pronounce that creature. And then again, Fortress of Fang. I mean, I don't know. I know they made that like sewer playset kind of thing for Ninja Turtles. Has NECA made a playset? I know they would hope it. I would assume that they wouldn't charge a crazy amount of money for them. I mean, the Fortress of Fang would be huge. It would be a massive thing. But NECA seems to kind of be keeping the prices on their stuff down. I mean, they're almost pert near the same prices of Marvel Legends now, or Star Wars Black Series. So, $35 a figure, and they're like $25, $30 for Marvel Legends. I mean, you're almost on par. So, let's just say hypothetically NECA in that style, that detail, does a Fortress of Fang. Now, if they're getting $80 for like Dragoon or Hook Horror, I'm just going to go out on a limb and think that probably Fortress of Fang would be $200 to $300. $200, I think I'm in. $300, oof. Again, I'll wait till it goes on sale. But if it comes out as $300, I would still probably not buy it at full price. But now, if it's like the Cat's Lair, from Thundercats, like Super 7, that's $600. I ain't gonna do it. But I would probably, because I paid $79.99 for Castle Grayskull, and I paid $79.99 for Snake Mountain. So combine them together. Let's say it's about $200 ish, in taxes and whatever, for something twice as big. Yeah, I'd probably buy it, but I'm using logic, and logic never seems to hold true with any of these companies. Like I said, NECA, I haven't seen. They've got like I said, these figures are a little pricey, but I think NECA is pretty for what you get. I mean, if it's $25 for a 6-inch figure that's not super crazy detailed, you get something like this for $10 more. That's pretty, with all the extras and stuff. I think that's pretty justified. I mean, that's pretty reasonable. It's expensive, but I think it's reasonable. It's within the realm of reason when it comes to these things. $55, no. So that's what it is. So last thing I just want to mention real quick here is today. No, actually, sorry, it's not today. It's next week. I got my days wrong. I thought it was today that the Secret Wars facsimile comic supposed to come out today. It's not. It's supposed to come out on the 17th. That's next Wednesday. I forgot it's only the 10th today. I'll probably track it down next Wednesday. I still need to call. I'm just wanted to call the comic shop and ask him if he can set up like a box for me and just start pulling them all. And I'll go in when I can and pick them up. And I really don't want to have to order them online and pay a lot of shipping for them. So it is what it is. I did end up finding Spider-Woman facsimile and that first part of Days of Future Past. I found it at another comic shop, and with shipping, it was like maybe $2 over cover. So that was pretty good. I got those 2 comics coming, and they shipped. So did the other bundle that I shipped from Golden State, or Golden, whatever it was. Golden State Comics, I think. So I've got almost all of the facsimiles that are out to date that I want. The Dazzler one's really hard to find, and it goes for a lot of money. It goes for like $15, But outside of that, there's maybe a couple more here and there. There's that first appearance of Batgirl and Batman, and then there's a Detective Comics with his Batgirl in it. I like Batgirl, so I might pick up that one as well. But I've got most of the ones I want. So those are the Marvel ones. I think I've got most of all the Marvel. Oh, there's a couple Hulk ones that I wouldn't mind having. And then that one X. There's still a few more. Not a lot, though. But I thought to myself, I'll go on MarvelSubscriptions.com, right, thinking, hey, they said that they're going to do one every month for the next 12 months, an entire year of the Secret Wars. Do they have a subscription for that? It would make sense. Then I don't have to go to the comic book shop, and then get it at 45% off, as it shows there, and have it sent to my house. I don't see it on there available. Neither do I see the Spider-Mans. They're supposed to do a whole year of that. I would like to you do subscriptions to those, because I would subscribe. It just makes it easier for me. However, I did think about the 45% off for subscriptions, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I should get Sensational She-Hulk and Spider-Woman. I like both those characters a lot, and I thought maybe I'll subscribe to them, get them at a savings. Because, I mean, if they're $3.99 a pop and you get 45% off, I mean, you're essentially getting them for what? Like $2 and something. That's fair. I mean, comics back in the 90s were like $1.50. So another $1 here, it's, even 30 years from then. That's fair. That's a good price. I think if you subscribe to these issues, and get them for $30.64, free shipping on that too, no tax, supposedly. It's all built into the price. I think that's justifiable. I think that is where you're going to actually get your value if you're buying modern comics, is to subscribe. I mean, sure, your comic book shop might take I don't know, they're going to take 45% off or 36%. There's different percentages, but I don't think your local comic shop's going to take that much money off of the price. Maybe it will. So I thought, I'll subscribe to She-Hulk and what do you call it? The problem is now, what do you call it? What was I going to say? I don't know. I mean, the She-Hulk stuff looks cool. I mean, but I don't care for the writer very much. I'm going to pull up. This is the newest version. It's the CBR, the newest version. Here's my issue. Rainbow Rowell, that's the writer. I don't really care for her at all. But here's the thing. That's not so bad. I mean, the artwork's not super bad. I don't know what's going on with the noses. They're making her nose look very... I'm not going to say what I think, but I mean, they're making her nose look very questionable. I don't know. It's not a bad drawing of her walking up the stairs. That nose thing is odd. But the art, obviously the art's not my problem here. Now, look at this comic. Okay, I'm going to go through it real quick with you guys. Okay, you get this cover, right? Girls are out dancing. Alright, Jennifer is going to the courthouse under publicity or protest or whatever. Okay, whatever. I didn't read the comic yet, so I don't know. She goes, she's in the courtroom. She's on the subway. Jack of Hearts is still hanging out at her place, which is the Wasp's penthouse at the Avengers Tower. She-Hulk comes home, takes her shoes off. She's beat. And this plays into my last video from yesterday, or from my last video about script writing, and here's where I'm going with this. Okay, Patsy Walker shows up. She's all hippied out for some reason. Of course, Patsy Walker's Hellcat. I'm assuming she wants her to go to some dance club or something. So, again, yada, yada, yada. She looks to see if she's got anything to wear, blah, blah, blah. Who is this? Who just showed up now? Some other person. Like I said, I have to read it. But anyways, I'm just looking at what's going on. Okay, there's Captain Marvel's there. So all the girls are getting together. Now they've gone to some place. I'm assuming it's a bar or a coffee shop or something. It's got couches. They're going to order. They're talking. They're talking. They're talking. They're eating. Now they're going to dance. Something's kind of going on with Patsy Walker. Okay, and then some bad guys show up at the end. Okay. Remember what I said in my video about script writing? Is don't go 3 pages, but 3 pages is about the max you want to do of talking heads. I know, Dave Sim, the creator of Cerebus, said, he was quoting, he was talking about David Byrne's philosophy, in the Talking Heads. He says, how many fist fights does the average person get into? Isn't it just 2 heads in a room talking? And Cerebus did that for a long time. But the thing is, these are comic books with extraordinary stories. Yes, they're going to get into more than just the average person. They're not average people. There's nothing average about a comic book, about a superhero. So yes, they're going to get into fist fights constantly, or whatever fights. That's the whole point of a superhero, is they're going to be thrown through walls. They're going to get into scraps. They're going to go to space. They're going to go to under the ground. They're going to do all of these crazy adventures. They're not just going to go to work under protest, talk with a bunch of people at work, sit at your desk, get on the train, go home to your goofy, weird boyfriend, take your shoes off, collapse on the couch, have some friend come over, and let's go out, let's go be girls. You see where I'm going with this? How many pages have we gone? Is nothing happening? Right? The thing is, you can have people talking, but the reason they should be doing something while they're talking besides just standing there or taking their shoes off or collapsing on a couch. He's floating, whatever. People should be doing more than, okay, we're almost to the end of the comic, and you brought more characters in, and nobody is doing anything. Now they've gone to some place, and they're ordering, and now they're talking again, and they're eating and drinking, and they're eating and drinking and talking. Now they decide to dance. At least they're moving, but they're just dancing and talking, and something happens, right? There's at the second to last page, there's, something may happen. These creatures show up. Okay, that means that the next issue is going to be a fight. Or is it? Or is it going to be, they're just going to sit down and eat and drink and dance and be girls with these monster characters? What is going on? That's why I was, subscribing this. Like, do I really want these comics? I mean, I could read them, obviously, online. But as far as collecting them for a collection, do I really want these comics? I mean, they are not good. And they're 2 of my favorite titles, She-Hulk and Spider-Woman. Since the old ones, right? That's why I bought the facsimile versions. I love She-Hulk and I love Spider-Woman. And nothing happens in these comics. The art looks nice. It's not... I'm not a huge fan of the faces. The art's okay. The art's better than the last couple of She-Hulk issues. But again, what issue is this? This is issue 4, right? Usually in like a 1 through 6 is a story arc, right? And I've seen issue 1 through 3, and nothing happens in those either. I think there may be like one fist fight with, I think, She-Hulk and the Thing or something. I can't remember exactly. That's how unmemorable it is. These people are being employed by the biggest comic book company out there, Marvel. I would say Marvel's probably on top, followed by DC, followed by Image. And you've got, and this is it's a top tier character now, even though She-Hulk never really was. She was always kind of a B character, a tier B character, or tier 2 character. Definitely not a tier 3. But I would say Spider-Woman and She-Hulk are definitely tier 2 characters. They're not A-listers. They're not Captain America. They're not Spider-Man. They're not, I would say even Iron Man was probably a tier 2 at the time until the movie got him popular. So, but still, they're definitely not nobody characters. If you've got your own series, you've got to be at least close to an A-tier character. And I would say in the 80s, when she was in She-Hulk, or when she was in Fantastic Four by John Byrne, And then they ended up coming out saying Sensational She-Hulk in 89. She was a top-tier character then, so I would assume she's top-tier now. But you got a top-tier book, self-titled book, and nothing happens. I don't want to see anybody lose their job. This Rainbow Rowell. I don't want to see anybody lose their job. However, there comes to a certain point when you got to think to yourself, you're not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the comic sells great. Maybe it's doing amazing, right? I don't think any of them are doing amazing, and I don't know how well She-Hulk's doing. I guess I could go on Comic-Con and look at the numbers if they haven't posted for this new, or since she's been on it for a little while. But that last series, now it's the Sensational She-Hulk. The TV show didn't do so hot. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely question what's going on. Like I said, I mean, it said it back in. I'm not going to pull the book out, but again, it said it back in the book. Don't do these things in comic books, right? And it seems like everything you're not supposed to do in comic books, and I know that's not dogma. I mean, I know it can become across as dogma and say like, all right, well, there's no real hard and fast rules to comic books. There kind of is, and it's dictated by what the people want to see. Sure, it might be dictated by the editorial staff. Maybe, the time, under the wing of Jim Shooter, he was pretty, tough on people, and Roy Thomas before that, and then I can't remember, it was Bob Harris took over for. That's kind of Marvel went to shit. But even when Marvel went to shit in the 90s, things still happened. Things still, for the most part, followed the regular. For the most part, the regular comic formula. I just don't know what's going on with these comics nowadays. I don't know. Like I said, I would definitely. Like I said, you look at Sensational She-Hulk by Byrne. Let's take She-Hulk and let's put her in extreme situations, right? Let's have Toadmen invade. Let's put her on the space shuttle. Let's take her to another planet. Where things happen. Let's have her marry the Mole Man. I'm not saying you have to rehash those exact same stories, but as you can see, in the first 10 issues of the John Byrne series, things happened, and it was like a roller coaster ride of just insanity. Now we just see She-Hulk. What's the point of being She-Hulk if you're just going to sit around and go to work, come home, and go out with your girlfriends and go to a club and order Cokes and eat stuff and dance, and maybe some creatures are going to show up at the end. Maybe you're going to fight them in the next issue. I don't know. It's not out yet. But yeah, so I know I keep harping on the modern comics, but I mean, I don't know. I love comics, as you know, and I may do comics. I mean, I make comics myself. Of course, it begs the question. Why don't you try to get a job at Marvel? Not if they're going to run the company like this. I mean, at the time when I was younger, yes, that was my lifelong dream, was to work for Marvel Comics. And since I was 10 years old, I wanted to work in Marvel Comics. And then into the 90s, when the market fell out and I saw all the stupid shit that Marvel was doing and the Image thing, I thought to myself, and then I heard how the businesses run, and I started, as I became an adult in my 20s, I started to learn how everything worked, and I realized, I don't want to work for this company. It's like, it's like having the dream, your dream girlfriend or your dream job, and you're naive about it as a kid, and then once you get older, you realize this is a really shitty job. I don't want to work here. That's how it is, because it doesn't match in your head what you thought it was. And that's how it is with this company today. I mean, as I could see, for one thing, I'm a white, middle-aged male. I don't think I'm allowed to work for Marvel. Obviously they've gone totally woke. I hate to use that term, but I mean, they've gone totally woke. And, I don't fit into the right demographic of creator types. I'm too old. You're not going to hire a 50-year-old dude, to work on modern comic books when everybody there is probably average age 28 to 32. They're not going to hire, again, they're not going to hire a white dude. They'll hire, some dude of color. I hate to say that term. I hate when they say a person of color. Aren't you just saying colored person? And that's derogatory, but person of color isn't. It's the same thing. But anyways, I'm the wrong, whatever. I'm too white, and I'm too male, and I'm too old, and I don't have the right sexual orientation. So I don't fit any of the criteria just to even get my portfolio seen. And they've seen my portfolio, and, I never got a job back in the day either. So, sure, I'm better now. I've got a lot more years of experience doing it. But, they're not going to let me do it. And if you've seen my art, and you see the way I draw She-Hulk, and you see the way I draw Spider-Woman, and I think I've even drawn, what's-her-face there, Patsy Walker, Hellcat before. If you've seen the way I draw them, they ain't going to let me draw their comic books, trust me. It's why I do what I do, and that's why people come to me for my comics, is because they're not going to do that. So they're going to come to me because I'm the one who does that, right? So that's fine. I can live with. I'm fine with that structure. So I'm just putting it out there because I know a lot of people come back at me and say, well, why don't you work for him then? Or you're good enough to work for him, or you do better. Constantly. Your artwork's so much better than modern professional comic book artists. Although I'm a professional comic book artist, by the way, so thank you very much. They ask. They always come out and and they say that it's just like, do you not? Sure, that would be that the sentiment's great, and I appreciate the support and the compliment. However, you can clearly see why I don't work for them. You can clearly see why they would never hire me. So, at the end of the day, it's kind of a no-brainer there. So I'm going to leave you guys on that. I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do for the next episode. I'm probably going to do the break. I've got to do a little bit of research. I'm going to do a little bit more readings so I can kind of get my thoughts together about breaking down comics. I had to break down a comic yesterday. I broke it down from a script. So I have a way to do it. I just want to think of a way I can articulate it to you better than me just doing it. I gotta kind of explain it, and I don't want to, on camera show one of my comics being broken down because, like I said, YouTube's not the place for that. But I'll tell you the mechanics and stuff. Let me think about a way to put that together because that'll be the next one in the series is comic breakdowns. Again, somebody wanted me to do a demo of the Leo James, and I want to do a demo of the Orange Amplifier. Maybe this weekend that might happen. I'm not sure. And then what else do I got coming up? I got those guys coming. I'll probably do a video of those. Probably do a follow up to the the Dungeons and Dragons stuff once they come. Probably do a follow up to the Facsimile comics when that stuff comes. Kind of let's do that. So, all right. I'm going to let you guys go. It's been an hour or pretty close to it. All right, I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.